Oh, do I start? Hi,
Yeah,
welcome to
you
Cult
start.
XE, channel here at +1. I'm Keegan XE, the content necromancer and cult leader here.
And I'm Sarah, your real life stepdad and the other cult leader. Plus One is a weird little brand that multi-classes in tabletop game design, beard and skincare alchemy, and the Bardic College of Content Creation. The dream and hope here at Plus One is to help amazing designers find great players who love their games, and help amazing players find great designers whose games they can love. And
I'm very ADHD. I
I
forgot
got
I
this.
was supposed to be looking at the
Do you want
script.
to? You got
No,
it?
we're
I
good.
got it. Okay.
Wait, I don't have a script.
I do, no
No
worries.
script.
Today you're joining us for Character Study, a cult classic where we sit down with folks across the TTRPG space to learn more about their character in the systems they love and who they are out of games. We're taking audience questions, so feel free to chime in with questions as we move along. Our guest today is Cassi Mothwin, a multi-award winning tabletop RPG designer and illustrator. When she's not working on her own project, she's usually reviewing or exploring other indie tabletop games developed by her peers. She enjoys video editing, video games, and reading a lot of genre fiction. If you see her, tell her to go for a walk. She probably needs it.
Welcome, Cassie.
Hi. So happy to be here.
Super excited to have you here. And there's an accolade that's not in your bio, and I just kind of want to get to it. Do we want to do the surprise now or later? Because I think I'm gonna burst if we don't share it. Okay, I'm doing it.
We should do it multiple times.
Let's do it so many times. Cassie's also joining the +1 family as our coordinator and zine fiend for Zine Club.
Yay!
Oh, and we're so excited to have her. Cassie will be coming on to help us with promotion, organization, all of the best things to make sure that Zine Club can be the best thing it can possibly be. If you don't know the words Zine Club in that order, you should go look at it and
RPGzine.club.
Heck yeah. Great zines delivered to you every single month. Check it out. But Cassie, welcome to Character Study. Super excited to have you here.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Before we get into it, there's a couple of things. So we're using In Extremis. We're gonna build a character, which is very exciting. I've got a beautiful book right here.
Oh, I should get
both versions.
There's 3 versions, so I'll get.
Oh my gosh, do we have the trifecta?
I will find the third one eventually.
Amazing.
I'll just keep holding it.
I have a loose pile of.
There we go. Look at all of them. So we're going to be building a character for you, an In Extremis, written by the incredible Keegan EXE. But before we do that, Cassie, talk to me about TTRPGs. What brought you to this space? Like, what was the thing that got you to where you are today?
Yeah, I just really like playing pretend, and it felt socially acceptable to do that when you're using dice or some other mechanic in a way with other people that it didn't feel legitimate before or less judgmental, I guess. And so that's where I sort of started exploring tabletop RPGs. Obviously, I moved well beyond that, like that space. But it was, I think the door that opened was, hey, this is how you can play pretend and it still be socially acceptable, was sort of without a script, right? You just make it up as you go. So I think that was sort of the gateway. And then realizing just how you can tell stories and explore narrative, especially stepping more into the GM shoes, it just kind of like overtook my entire identity, if you couldn't tell. So
it's funny how that happens, right? It's like the slippery slope of like, oh wait, I can just be whatever I want to be. I want to do that all the time.
Yeah. And I have a very strong writing background. So I have my graduate degree in writing. I have a master's degree in writing. So playing pretend in my own head is something I do quite frequently. So then with the ability to do that with other people and to make them suffer in delightful ways, with consent, it just so much fun.
Love it. I think it's great. And we have In Extremis. What about In Extremis called to you for this particular activity?
Sure. So I read the book this is based on, and I cannot remember the title of it.
It's the Gideon the Ninth.
Yes, Gideon the Ninth. Mm-hmm. I went into that book not knowing anything about it, and I came out of it still not understanding a ton of stuff, but absolutely loving like the world and the ambience and the aesthetic of everything. And I heard, through the grapevine that this book this game does a great job of sort of capturing a lot of that. And I was like, just because I didn't love necessarily the story, I really like the characters and I really liked the aesthetics. So I've been wanting to check this out for a while. I know some people who have checked it out and loved it. So yeah, I'm a goth at heart. So
Nice. I think my favorite part about this stream is going to be Keegan just like squirming uncomfortably every
Yes.
time we say
Honestly.
something nice about their game.
Just-
It's going to be very, very good.
We'll
Keegan,
probably talk about it at some point, but like I'm redesigning In Extremis because I don't like it very much.
That's okay. We all grow, as creators. I'm going back to one of my earlier pieces and, unofficially, kind of officially redoing it, revamping it a lot. So,
Yeah, I think In Extremis did really cool things at the time, and I was like a new designer when it came out, and it's like the thing I'm known for. But also, like now I'm looking at it like I don't like this. I've played
Keegan.
maybe too much of it. I think it just might be like after like 80 games of it, it's like, do I even like this?
Yeah, I feel you 100%.
Awesome. So on that note, Keegan, let's dive into this Garbo game that needs to be rewritten.
Yeah, you got it.
Let's start with character study. So in Extremis, you play overpowered necromancers in space, which is very, very cool.
What kind of an amazing elevator pitch is that? My God.
I gotta tell you, the success rate of that pitch is astronomical.
Yeah.
Like, it's just immediately the vibes are there. If you get it, you get it, and you're on board for the big win. And I know in the book it's broken out into like a bunch of different archetypes. We can kind of go through and look at the ones that sound good to us. But I think, Keegan, as the designer, is there anything you would point out before we dive into the archetypes?
Honestly, Sarah, I'm going to say something so brave, which is I think at this point you know this game better than me.
Gosh, dang it. I just wanted to give you an opportunity. I love this game. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Sarah
So-
ran this game at PAX EU. Like,
It's true.
Yeah.
it's not a joke.
It's true. And I enjoyed the heck out of it. So yeah, I guess we can just jump in. There's some archetypes in the book. Keegan might be sharing the PDF on the screen later.
Or
But
now.
for those of you following at home at your own copy of In Extremis, we can open up starting with like the Muscle Witch.
Ooh.
Which, again, one thing I love about this game is that just what everything is called just makes sense. It all just tracks. It's all just very, very good.
Yeah. I was looking at it earlier today and I thought the same thing for sure.
I do think a really funny thing here is the word allothysist, which I made up.
I think it's great. 0 notes.
The witch
Yeah.
that makes things explode was just like, how do I make this one word?
Awesome. So like we've got Keegan's helpfully pulled up a bunch of the classes. Cassie, when you go to play make believe, is there a consistent trope or character that you find yourself kind of naturally leaning to, or do you try to mix it up?
I do try to mix it up. I either veer extremely into the butch lesbian trope or into the soft princess trope.
Nice.
I like can't do middle ground. It's one or the other.
I think that's great. With this one, again, we've got a lot, and we can kind of pull through this. So, like, the Muscle Witch is definitely solve problems with your muscles vibe.
Yes.
I
I was wondering. I wasn't sure if that was physical.
Maybe emotional. Why not both? Stretch your emotional muscles and punch a zombie. We've got the Osteomancer, which I think is a little bit more of the Gideon the Ninth vibes. We're summoning skeletons. We're doing that.
I love the Neuromancer.
Ooh, what in particular speaks to you with the Neuromancer?
I love the lie detector. You always know when someone is lying to you. I, Cassie, am an extremely trusting person. I'm so gullible. I just want to see the best in everyone. So I would just love to know when someone is lying to me.
To have that knowledge kind of at hand. They also have the I'm a fond of the memory leak. Where it's just like,
Yes.
oh no, that didn't happen. Because as a person with social anxiety, it's like, no, never mind, take it back.
Yes.
Moving on with her day. That wasn't real.
So once per day, you can touch someone and erase up to 30 seconds, 5 minutes, an hour of their memory. The target is aware of the gap in their memory, but not why they have it. Yes, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make hiding gifts so much easier.
Right? Like, you just, it's an undo button for you and your friends, but mostly you.
But imagine like going gift shopping with someone. Come shopping with me, and then we'll buy something, but I'll erase your memory so you don't remember what we bought for you. But you'll love it.
It's the perfect gift. And
Yes.
you remember that we spent the entire day together.
Yeah.
Not really sure why, but either way, it was great. Here's a snack. Let's move on. So I think maybe what I'm learning, Cassie, is that the Neuromancer is the ultimate best friend class.
It can be.
And that's really what we're...
You can min-max best friend, I think, for sure.
That's what we're going for. We've got some combat spells. And the way in Extremis, it's built on the... Oh, and my brain just exploded.
Lumen. That's the word you're looking
system.
for.
Thank you. The Lumen system, which is really straightforward. You've got some attributes, you've got some social spells, and some combat spells. And we'll kind of run through. We've already talked about the social spells, the passive being lie detector, meaning that's always active. You never have to do anything about it. And then the active being that memory leak, so the once per day. And then depending on how leveled up you are is determining that like 30 seconds, 5 minutes. I want to backtrack a little bit to the attributes. We've got muscle, bone, and nerve. And these are the different ways that you can do things, right? It's a TTRPG. You got to be able to roll some dice and do some things. Math.
We got stats.
And muscle is, I mean, again, it's so straightforward. I love, like, you say these things and they just immediately make sense. Muscle, it's your strength. It's how you're going to be able to push. But also, I think the way Keegan has it written in the beginning of the book, that's also kind of your charisma. It's your way of like being big and strong and bold. Bone is your more studied and methodical diplomatic actions. It might be, I have a plan for this kind of thing, very tactically minded in combat. And then nerve is that quick, reactive, spur of the moment, unexpected maneuvers, charming your way out of situations. But ultimately, the way the system's built, you can use any of these different attributes for any problem, and you're just describing the way that you go about it. And I love the flexibility that gives for players.
I agree.
So Cassie, let's stat you out. We've got 4. You've got a 4, a 2, and a 1. How would you stat yourself?
Myself, I like, in my true heart of hearts, I want to be someone who is studied, methodical, and diplomatic, but I don't think I am in practice.
That's such a vibe. It's such a vibe.
Like, I want to be someone who isn't driven by impulse and has, extreme emotional intelligence. And, that's just not true. So I don't think bone should be my highest stat, maybe. But I can be quick. I think I'm pretty agile, both mentally and a little physically. I'm not like a sprinter by any means, but I can outmaneuver some people. I'm small, I'm spry.
There you go. When you're you're a TTRPG designer. When you're designing games, I'm kind of leaning into this nerd.
Sure.
Do you find yourself like, are you one and done, I'm getting through a project, or are you more, I'm kind of bouncing in between different things at any given moment?
I try to be a one and done. I have extreme ADHD. Who doesn't? But if I don't have that discipline to stay on a project, if I let it go, I will not come back to it if I chase the next shiny thing, which means that a project that might take someone else only a couple weeks, because I'm now forcing myself to do it, will take me longer, because every time I sit down, it feels like work to do it. But that's the only way sometimes a project gets done, even if I don't want to do it anymore, is I have to have the discipline. So I'm not someone, so maybe I'm not agile. Maybe
No, I think you can be, because I would argue that you're like you're using muscle to not.
okay,
But I
yeah, yeah,
think
yeah.
like that creative process is always so interesting, like from different people, you know what I mean? Whether it's the hyper focus, like I'm in it, like I'm cranking it out, or it's a I can only touch this for 2 seconds and need to move back and forth. But I would argue that being able to craft discipline does not mean that you're not agile. It means that you recognize and are optimizing that
Yeah,
agility.
yeah, yeah. Optimizing the ADHD. Keegan,
Mhm.
were you about to say something?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay. Do you want to say something?
Do you want me to say something?
Yes.
That would be great.
Shit. I don't have anything particular to add here. I mostly just run tech. I want to be so.
Fine, but just so everyone knows, Keegan is the one that messaged me and said, "Do you want to do this thing with us?"
It's true.
So, you know.
Okay, don't come at me here.
All right, so we're not feeling so much bone. Nerves feeling pretty good. How do we feel about muscle in the life of Cassi Mothwin?
Yeah, I'm pretty powerful. So,
This
I
is
mean,
known. I've met
yeah.
I've met Cassie in real life. The aura is immaculate and very good.
Yeah, you know, you just have to believe it. You can't just go around and be like, I don't know, I don't think I'm very powerful. I'm pretty powerful. Regardless of what other people think, I know the truth. So I think I want to do 4 muscle, baby.
Heck yeah.
Hell
Love
yeah.
it. So we'll do muscle, and then the 2 in, I'm assuming, nerve.
Yes.
Nice.
And then I also think it makes sense to put 1 in bone because the first word is studied, and I didn't really get into tabletop RPGs until 2018, so I have not done my homework. It's kind of also part of my branding.
That's and was like with TTRPGs, did you just kind of stumble on it? Was it something that was kind of always around? Or was a friend just finally like, hey man, come do this thing with me?
My brother was obsessed and was like, "Let me run a game for you. You'll like it." And the rest is history.
There you go. I
Yeah.
love it. That's
Now, I think I've
wonderful.
run more games for him in the
Right.
long run, but
All
so I
it
guess
took
his
was that
investment
one.
paid off.
There you go. TTRPGs, 1 game's all it takes, folks.
Yeah.
He was like, "Come run, play games with me." And you were like, "I'm just gonna write them."
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Very cool. And Keegan's got the character sheet pulled up so we can kind of work through that. And we've already talked about the socials, which is great. That we moved to the combat spells.
I would move to probably
Oh.
disciplines next.
Ooh, let's do that. Keegan, talk through disciplines for me, buddy.
Yeah, I have it pulled up on the PDF for sure. So disciplines represent areas of your expertise outside of combat. During character creation, you'll choose 2 disciplines. There's some examples, but it's very loosey goosey. So, like Cassie, what are 2 things you think you're good at? What do you think
Oh,
your 2
gosh.
extra skills would be here?
And this is that alchemy, arcane knowledge. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and that's just I included a list because I feel like it helps when you're making
Oh.
a character to have something, but they don't have to be. You
No,
don't
this
need
is
to
what they
choose
have to
alchemy.
be. This is I was
This
really
is the
I like
exhaustive list.
yeah. You know, I think technology would be up there. Am I a cybersecurity expert? Absolutely not. But I am pretty great with tech. I built my own computer. I built my own keyboard that I've got in front of me that's really cute and it's got little cat keys.
Cute.
Yeah. So I think technology might be one of those. I'd love to say nature, but the only reason my plants are alive right now is because my spouse waters them for me. So
Have you seen my very dead,
my
my extremely dead Monstera? I tried so hard to keep her alive.
It's rough. It do be rough. You know, can we do writing? Let's
Yeah.
Absolutely, we can.
basic
Of
bitch
course we can.
answer.
Maybe not.
I mean, I feel like writing's really fair. Like, you had a really good
Yeah.
year of
I did.
winning a
It's a
bunch
great
of
year.
awards for that.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like, can we talk about that for a
I
second?
mean, if you insist.
Of course I insist. Because be me, be at PAX and be like, oh, here's Cassie. She's wonderful and very cool and super fun to hang out with. And then everybody's like, did you hear? She totally won this amazing award. And I was like, this is excellent news. I've known Cassie 2 seconds, and this makes sense.
Yeah, it was really fun. I did not think I was going to win, so it was a delight.
And that was for Indie Designer of the Year, correct?
That was for Rising Star Designer of the Year.
There we go. Which was very
I
cool.
think that's what the title was. Yeah, I don't keep track of them all.
it's really difficult when you're just amazing.
No, I won. Another project was the sticker game, and last year it won most innovative by the indie groundbreakers. So that's
there we go.
Yeah,
there we go. Very cool.
The IGD and most innovative games are always like so interesting too, because like what the thing that won it last year was oh no,
was it one of Snow's?
No, I think the one that won it last year was Will Jobst and Adam Vass.
Discord has Ghost.
This Discord has Ghost in it. Yeah, but like,
which is a great game.
Yeah, always goes to really cool games. That might have been 2 years ago. To be fair, I feel like
I think Snow won last year.
That feels right.
Now I don't remember what it was for. It might have been Dot Dungeon.
It had to be either Dot Dungeon or My Body is a Dungeon.
Or My Body's a Cage. I think that it was that one.
That's it. Is a dungeon?
I said I don't do my homework, but look at me.
Look at you know. I was gonna say I don't know any of these things. And this is why Keegan is great. Keegan's got all the TTRPG.
It's really funny, our duo, because like we can't do any of the things the other of us is good.
Correct.
Like completely useless at them.
If you put Keegan and I into some sort of like escape room situation that required a third skill that neither of us had,
over done.
I feel like I want to do an escape room with you two so badly. Like, let us make that happen next PAX.
The Venn diagram of Keegan and I is just two circles sitting very closely to each other. But so you won a lot of awards. A lot of that's driven by your writing. I do want to spend some time here because, again, I think when you're talking about your characters and like these disciplines, this is a great way for us to bring ourselves into the characters that we're playing. Obviously you write TTRPGs. What did you start with writing? Or is it like more poetry, short prose, and how did that differ from TTRPG writing for you?
So I did start with fiction, doing a lot of creative writing. I mean, I was writing fan fiction before I should have been allowed to know what fan fiction was, to be honest. I mean, I've always been writing stories. I have like a vivid memory of like being at the babysitter's and the babysitter just telling my mom she just sits with her notebook all day. Like, I don't have to do anything. This is the easiest job, because I was writing about a little girl who found a graveyard in the woods and summoned the skeletons out of the grave. I was like 8. Like, so I've always been very weird, very strange, and writing stories. And then I just love to pretend. I love to be the main character if I can be, just to keep it real, you know?
Yeah.
And then I have, of course, experimented with poetry. I have a couple poems published under my real name, not my pen name.
Right.
But I do primarily enjoy creative writing. I am working on a romance novel right now. We'll see if it ever sees the light of day.
Cassie, you can't say that and then not tell me that it's not going to happen. Like, we have now entered into a word pact where at least Sarah gets to read this thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You could be like a beta reader. I just don't know. I don't know. We'll see. Like, if a year from now it makes it out. I'm planning a duology. We'll see like where it ends up. But when it came to bridging that with tabletop RPGs, I was working on my first project, which was What Crooked Root, which is a folk horror thing. And I didn't want to write, this is how you should run it, but I also wanted to set something, or I wanted something in there that helped set the tone. I also did the art for it. So as I was creating the art for it, I was building this narrative throughout the text of the encounters and the situations, and I was seeing how they might be connected, but I didn't want to tell someone this is how to connect them. So throughout that, there are little blips of flash fiction that are interconnected and tell one whole story of someone potentially like walking their way through all the encounters and where they might end up. And I think that I can't help weaving that into my tabletop RPG creations. In some aspects, either that's some intro text, it's very decorative and thematic prompts, or it's just that lore bit that gets dropped here and there. It's a really, really fun way to blend in creative writing with that technical technical writing, which I
Mhm,
also
mhm.
really enjoy. And I think that's one of the reasons I've stuck with tabletop RPG so long, because I have gone through so many hobbies over my life. I have been a candle maker. I've been a runner. Like, I have several first place trophies from running 10 years ago.
Amazing.
Yeah, so, but tabletop RPGs are the only thing I stick with. And I think that's because it's such a multidisciplined
Mm,
space, if you want it to be. Like,
mhm.
there can be a month where I focus on illustrations, there can be a month where I focus on writing, and then there can be a month where I just focus on making shit up, and that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we've got writing, and we talked a little bit about technology, which I want to jump to the sticker game a little bit,
Oh, right. Oh,
because
God.
that's the sticker game is such a cool idea. I'll let you do the pitch, but one thing that stood out to me immediately is it's on a little flash drive. Like it is fully
Yeah.
techized.
Yeah. So the sticker game is, if you're not familiar, an audio drama journaling game. It's built to be played by one person, but I did host like I wouldn't call it a seminar, but like a playthrough with a bunch of other people here at an art gallery in St. Louis. And that was super fun. We just played it over the speakers, and then a bunch of round tables were set up and people would sit and grab stickers out of the center of the table. So it's an audio drama journaling game, but it also features sticker usage. So instead of just writing down everything like you would a typical structured journaling game, you answer the prompts by using your sticker collection. And it came to be because I kind of approached it with, I have all these stickers, I have nothing to do with them, I'm too afraid to use them in a way that won't honor how important they are to me. So I created the sticker game as a way to make them important. And I truly believe, and most people who play through it tell me as well, that it ends up feeling that way. What you come out of the experience with is a journal that really feels like an experience that you just can't explain. And I kind of love that. Um, but I also credited my spouse as co-writer, because he did all the voiceover for it. So we
Oh, so
recorded
cool.
yeah, so we recorded the whole thing. I knew I wasn't going to be a great voice actor for it. I do like voice acting for fun, and I am featured in it. I'm hidden throughout. But I knew if people listened to it, they would listen to Cassi Mothwin. They wouldn't listen to
Mm,
the narrative or the voice. And so I think Josh did a great job of bringing forward his own splash of color. We would go on these really long walks and talk through how to make the prompts more interesting, how to really hit the theme that I was going for, which is like, how do we make this personal and emotional without also making it too silly or too goofy, but keeping in with that Portal tone, or that Stanley Parable tone, which is kind of like where I wanted to play. So he did a great job of keeping me on it. I also had to learn a bunch of new tech for that, because I had no experience in sound design or making music, and had to learn all of that. And I had many mental breakdowns throughout that process.
Doing
Uh,
sound design is always so much more difficult than it looks like it's going to be from the outside.
Yeah, I do wanna do a remaster of the sticker game, because I've since bought better software for it. I'm still traumatized by the months of dealing with it, so we'll see how it might be like a 2 or 3 years thing. I finally release the remaster, which I think makes sense, to be honest, but it was a great experience, in the after effect. I think it landed with the right people. The people who play it, uh know what I was going for and say I achieved it. So I feel good about it. I'm very happy with doing it, and I never want to do it again.
Damn, imagining going, I need to remaster this game, and then also being like, but I still like it, because it could not be me.
as previously established, not the vibe. There is something in there that you said, and when you were talking about writing, when you were approaching TTRPGs, you said something about like not necessarily wanting to like tell people how to play the game, and even in this, like in the recording, you didn't want them to hear like Cassi Mothwin like telling the player what to do. Why is that important to you as like a designer to like
Oh gosh, I feel like this is a bomb question. Like, it's a mine, right? Like,
right? Well,
I
and
feel
I
like this
think
has started many a Twitter discourse.
listen, if there's
Design
one,
intent versus
this is where we
player.
bring discourse to die.
Oh my gosh, we should clip that. This is where we bring discourse to die.
Because we're just people and we're just having a conversation. It's gonna
Yeah.
be fine.
Okay, so to recap your question, it's like I don't want my design intent kind of flowing around in the
Yeah.
I mean, so in my dream of dreams, someday in the future, like 10 years from now, someone will go through all my work and they'll pick out all these patterns and they'll notice all these strange things that even I don't know I'm intentionally putting in my work. And I want them to write like this really cool essay about like the themes and the motifs and tropes that make their way through what I'm putting out. And as someone who does literary critique, I wouldn't want an author to tell me that this is what I meant for you to do. This is what I meant for you to take away. So even though that might never happen, that's kind of where I'm coming from. I want to leave gaps. I want to leave space where someone can bring themselves and they can fill in those gaps. I have offered what I might call commentary outside of my game. So I've done like little commentary streams where I talk through like why I made certain decisions or how I expect this might work in a certain way, but I don't necessarily put all of that in the text because I want there to be that space where you can color in outside the lines however you want.
I love that. And I think, again, like, there is a lot of conversation around like how to play games right or correctly, like ultimately they're games. And if make believe and creating an experience is the thing that you're driving for, it's less important about how it's written and more important about how you experience it, right? Is that kind of that's what I'm picking up on?
Yeah, precisely. I think it's great to have a good middle ground. Like, I wouldn't want to just say, I mean, and as a player, I get kind of frustrated if I'm handed a text and it's just rules and it doesn't have any of that, like, here's a great way to experience these rules. I love having that middle ground. I just don't want to be told this is the only way and here's all of the more detailed ways to do this, and it just becomes overwhelming and a burden. um yeah, I think I answered your question.
Yeah, you absolutely did. And you crushed it out of the park.
The bake.
So
Oh, I
go
was
for
going
it,
to say the
Keegan.
bakers have this thing called the fruitful void, and usually we're talking about the fruitful void in terms of like leaving holes in like the design of the world, where it's like it raises interesting questions, and I think there is sort of an interesting way to do that with rules and like game writing itself too, where you're like you want to leave enough that people like can do their own thing with it without like over explaining it, but you also don't want to like under explain things.
Yes,
It's like such a tightrope to learn how to walk.
I'm still learning it, I feel like. And to kind of piggyback off that, I just released Twisted Endings, which is an ending expansion for Tangled Blessings. And the whole time I was telling Josh, I was like, this is a really hard expansion to write because I don't know what players have done up until this point. Because they can do their own thing. They can set this in a completely different setting. They can have a different kind of mode of magic. So I have to be specific enough because I wrote 16 different endings. So I have to be specific enough that these 16 endings are unique and thematic, but also vague enough that it can plug in to as many play styles as possible. So it can be so tough.
Right. Like, again, it's you're defining it just enough that it exists, but leaving it open enough that like that's it. It merely exists, right?
Mhm.
And the player will bring in all of the detail to fill it out.
I feel like there's also a conversation about player trust there and just, understanding that, hey, player, you can change what doesn't work. I know there's been some discussion over do you give the player permission or do you just let the player know they have permission? I am someone, and I don't know if I'm autistic. I probably am on the spectrum, to be honest, but I'm someone who values permission. So if a text says, hey, you take this text and shape it to your will, I feel more empowered to do that. Where other people will say, it's so silly to have that in your text. Of course, people can shape it to your will. But I don't know. I appreciate having it. I appreciate knowing the designer is like, no, no, no. This is yours now. Do what you want. Please be happy.
Yeah, there's something about the like explicit, hey, do what you want with this that makes it feel less stifling. Like I
Yes.
I will change it even if I want to. It is nice to know that the designer is like, you should change this if it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's fascinating to me as someone who like has never designed TTRPGs but really just plays them. Like, in conversations with designers, how much of it continues to be a conversation, right? Because I think TTRPGs
You did
are a
it.
conversation. I did it. We can end the stream now. Success.
Bye, everyone.
I mean, they are often here is a guide to have a conversation with the people sitting at the table or with yourself, and to see how much thought comes from the designer to the player, and watching them establish that conversation, even though you're never going to meet them, and like the players never I mean, Twitter exists, I guess, you know, like the internet is real, and like
Unfortunately,
like,
Twitter exists.
but I think like the thoughtfulness behind that is always really inspiring to me as someone who plays games, to see that like, no, we're excited about the experience you want to have. That's what we're gunning for, right? And whether it's a direct do what you will with this, or kind of a vague like, I don't know, here's some rules, either way, right? I think it's really interesting to see like TTRPGs are just conversations at every level, and I really like that.
Yes, I completely agree.
There are some people who have like recently joined who missed the start of the stream. Oh, do we want to go over what the big announcement was? Because people missed
Biggest announcement.
The biggest announcement ever, and we did promise that we would cover off on this every single time. Cassie, would you please tell the people what your very cool and interesting title is?
Well, did we decide it's Zine Fiend? I just threw that out for fun.
Listen,
it's under your head right now.
I gotta be so honest with you. I've changed my title like 3 times.
Okay. So for the sake of this stream, it's a Zine Fiend of RPG Zine Club, which is put together by +1 EXP. This is an initiative in hopes of getting more tabletop RPG zines out in the world and diversifying the tabletop RPG space with creators from marginalized backgrounds, different backgrounds, queer spaces all across the world, and kind of doing this instead of the traditional crowdfunding route. So we bank on subscriptions in order to fund future zines. And yeah, it's a great initiative. You can sign up for an adventure zine series, a story zine series, or you can get both every single month, both digitally and physically delivered right to your door. They're all super good, super amazing. I'm so excited to be part of this initiative. And yeah, we've got some great things in the cooker. I've got great ideas. I've been having some wonderful meetings with Tony of +1 EXP to get this really moving forward, and really excited about where we're going in the next year.
Yeah, it's really cool knowing what titles are upcoming.
Yeah.
What a neat and cool feature.
Like, yeah, it's just really cool.
That's the only reason I joined. I wanted to know like where we're going to be. And
you can look in
insider scoop.
all of the channels in the secret Discord and be like, oh, wow, look at this really cool art for this game that won't be out for 5 months.
Tony and I did go through the release list yesterday, so that should be updated.
Oh, I'm going to open it secretly in another tab because it exists on my Google Drive.
Keegan suddenly gets very quiet as they peruse what scenes they'll be picking up.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm being very quiet while I look.
So that said, I've reached out to people. I'll continue reaching out to people because I have read so many indie tabletop RPG games, and I think there are so many creators out there who just haven't made that hurdle to physical, or don't have the resources to make that hurdle to physical. And I would love to help you maybe publish through Zine Club. So
nice.
Interesting. I did just look through the release schedule.
Awesome. So we've got our attributes, we've got our disciplines, we've got some social spells.
Oh yeah, we're making a character.
We're making a dude. Is there anything else we want to cover off on? Names and pronouns. We kind of glossed over.
Oh, I'm so bad with names.
To be fair though, we are just making Cassi Mothwin in Extremis, so I did just write Cassi Gothwin.
Yeah, I love that.
Good.
It's perfect.
This is very good.
I can't see.
And then I guess appearance, Cassie, how would you describe your sense of style? Like what's the vibe?
The vibe is cozy gay person. Every time I leave the house, I look at my spouse and I'm like, is it clear I'm gay? Because you're with me and I need people to know that I'm very queer. But I also don't want to be uncomfortable.
This is excellent. This is a good mood. I love it.
So it usually leans more goth. I have brought in more pastels, but like today I'm wearing a pastel shirt, but it's a crocheted house on fire that says "Don't panic."
This is very good.
Inspired by Bo Burnham, obviously, but
Yes.
Bo Burnham just did. I mean, that's an emo album, so it makes sense.
This all tracks.
Yeah.
We got this. I love keeping just gay.
Yeah.
Just big bold letters. Gay. Love
That was the description, so I wrote it down. I'm simply a scribe.
I do what the vibes tell me. I am documenting.
Yeah.
This is excellent. Okay. Moving forward, we've got some combat spells for the Neuromancer.
Right.
Our passive is can't hit me. You have incredible twitch speed. If someone makes an attack at a distance of far or further, you can make a nerve roll, and on a success, you take no damage.
Oh, nice.
Do you, Cassie, do you often find yourself in situations where you need just finely tuned response times?
Listen, I have a cat with mommy issues, so yes.
Is it just the one cat or
I have 2
multiple?
cats, but only the one has mommy issues, so he gets a little aggressive.
I just need
Gotta avoid those bunny kicks.
There we go. Yes. Well, good news is if you succeed, you'll take no damage from those. So
I have like this one. I don't know if my camera. This is
There you
new.
go.
Thank you,
Yep.
Mercury.
Courtesy.
Yes.
This is excellent.
Oh yeah, my cats have planet names. So we've got Neptune
excellent.
and Mercury. So thematic.
Oh,
Perfect.
very
For our-
cute. I love it. And how old are they? Sorry, this is now a get to know Cassie's cat stream.
No. I'm fine for that. Mercury, let's see. We got him in the beginning of 2016. So 8.
Okay.
And then we got Neptune in the middle of 16. So pretty much also 8. I don't know. They're still babies though.
Absolutely babies. I have Pascal here. I also got her in 2016. So like 8 years
Babies.
old is also baby. Knows nothing of the world.
I am sort of now like, so a thing in Gideon the Ninth, which obviously this is based on, is that like there are all of the planets in Gideon the Ninth are just renamed versions of the actual planets, which makes me like, I wonder what fantasy planet your cats are here.
Amazing.
What were their names again?
I've
Oh,
got
gosh.
Neptune and
Okay.
Mercury.
Okay, cool. I'll get back to you because now
Yeah. I'm
King will
eagerly
report
awaiting
back.
the results.
I'm like,
Perhaps a middle or tertiary name has been discovered.
we'll figure out what sort of weird magic they do.
Oh hell yeah. This is excellent.
All right, so
Um,
Mercury is Viburnus. They're elementalists on that planet. And then Neptune, would be, oh god, I can't fucking read my own map. Isn't that incredible? Aren't I doing
got-
great over here?
You're crushing it, Keegan.
You're doing so good. We're all so proud of you.
That would be Camillus, which is where the summoners are, which is a really funny thing. Is Aaron King wrote the one adventure that's out for this game, and it takes place on Camillus, and you're fighting life-sized Furbies.
Excellent.
um,
Aaron King just never misses. It's astonishing.
I think about that fucking adventure literally all the time.
Does this?
I need to look it up immediately.
I'll pull it up.
Giant Furbies in space. Does this resonate with you in your understanding of your cats that you have a summoner and an elementalist?
Yes, because Neptune does summon me to the sunroom quite frequently. It's where he wants to be pet. And I cannot resist the call, so I must be summoned. And then Mercury has mood swings, so I think that matches with elementals.
This is excellent.
He's also a liquid cat. You pick him up, he turns into a liquid. You know, he can also jolt around like lightning. Yeah, it all tracks for sure.
Excellent. This is good to know.
Let's see. What's that? I have it pulled up now.
Excellent.
I can't remember. There's like so many weird little guy art in this fucking adventure.
We love weird little guy art.
Yeah, but everything's described as like ears stretched into transparent vein-like wings, long foot claws, bat-like screeches and pings for all of these like horrifying like long Furbies and stuff that they're summoning.
Long Furbies.
And I'm literally obsessed with it. I think about it daily.
Amazing.
I do love that. Let's move on a little bit further in our combat spells. We've got some active ones. We've got pressure points where the target will take damage and the spell requires an action, but it's very clear. Cassie, if you were to describe using the move pressure points, what do you visualize in your mind? Like what does that look like?
Definitely, I'm seeing Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't remember her name, but the acrobatic one that is always doing the pressure point situation and backslaps. Is it Tally?
That's what I think it is. I was just gonna say that.
I'll look it up.
I did not watch the live action series.
I not either. I won't. I refuse.
It is
same.
It is Ty Lee, Ty space Lee.
It.
You were close. Yeah.
I've been playing Mass Effect, so Tally is closer to the front of my mind.
I did start the live action Avatar the other day. I just want to say I started it because there was nothing else to watch on TV, and it's not good.
I can't be betrayed with this. Like again, yes. Like it's bad enough that it happened before. Like fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. I need an aneurysm. I can't do this.
Fool me twice, I need an aneurysm. Is the classic version.
Another clip. That's what we've got here.
I gotta get out of here. This is not good. This is not good. But yeah, I love that. The next move we've got Discharge. You take control of the nervous system of a single enemy and cause them to attack a target of your choice. And then it deals damage based on your level up. And then Keegan, I would love for you to describe the Banes for moves.
Oh yeah, I should pull up the PDF for that. Keep talking though while I.
So the Bane here is hack the planet.
There we go. I found it. Close. As a reaction to an enemy using an attack against yourself or an ally, you can deliver a quick strike to them, forcing them to choose another target within range at random. If there are no other targets, they lose the attack. The spell deals 5 damage to inorganic enemies in addition to its regular effects. Extra damage is dealt after the enemy makes their attack. So Banes were this weird system I built out for In Extremis, where you can get like a significantly more powerful but way more narrow version of like an existing spell. But once you switch to the more narrow version, you're stuck using it for at least the rest of the session. So like there's this cool like, okay, but Discharge is good, I don't want to stop using it, and they're like, but I really need to hack the planet right now, and it's like, okay, well you gotta have one or the other. And like once you make the decision, you can't go back. They're really fun in play. Writing them is hard.
Sounds really fun.
Cassie, which one do you feel like would be the one that like you'd go with?
Probably Discharge. It's safer. I'm pretty safe, to be honest. And I just think about how I will be playing with Mercury, the mood swingy cat, and get him riled up, and then I'll just turn him towards Josh, and he'll walk over to Josh and bite Josh.
This is excellent. This is very good.
That's like classic cat parent.
Yeah. It just feels really right. That's exactly what I do. I wish I had a cooler answer. I
don't think it could get cooler, because the visual I have in my mind now is that a very goth inspired and clearly queer neuromancers out there getting kitty cats like all staticky and then like releasing them back into hordes. Like that's wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you for this gift.
You're welcome.
I like that a lot. Last we have Adrenaline. Cassie, do you want to go ahead and read that one?
Adrenaline, range mid 1/2 / any number of other targets within range can immediately make an extra weapon attack. Ooh.
So this is kind of like a support
Yeah.
thing where you're enabling the folks around you to take additional actions. Um, well, like when you're working collaboratively with other folks, what's like, are you the project manager? Like you're our project manager for Zine Club, which is excellent. But like, how do you feel like working as part of a team? Uh,
I struggle with it. I mean, to be honest, I really value just being in control and doing
mhm,
things the way I want to do them.
mhm,
But I mean, outside of that, I love working with others and being able to find what they do really well and empowering them to continue to fulfill that wellness. Like
mhm,
either growing in that area or if they need help somewhere. I have a lot of skills, so I'm happy to help figure out what kind of software people might need or find a better way to use the software they have or I answer a lot of crowdfunding questions these days even though I'm a baby crowdfunder. There are other people who just don't have any experience. So
mhm.
I love kind of I guess I don't know. I love answering questions if I have the answer. I love
Awesome.
helping if I can.
Right, right. And who are some like TTRPG designers in the space that you really admire that you would love to like work with, whether or not that is a thing in your
Mhm.
future? But
I don't know if work with is the right word, but definitely I just hesitate to use the word work with or
yeah,
collaborate with.
100%, 100%.
Um, but engage with. I've
Hmm.
already, I got Spencer Campbell to run Nova for me, so I feel like I crossed a big one off the bucket list. That was amazing. I wanted to work with Tony for a while. We got to know each other last year in January. He came to St. Louis for a convention. We went to lunch and it was a really great, like, I think we talked for like 3 hours about just everything in tabletop RPGs. And it was just a great time to talk to someone from a business perspective because I hadn't had that opportunity yet. I had been operating a year, not kind of as a business yet, still full hobby. And he talked to me like I was at his level, right?
Hmm.
And I think it helped me feel more confident. It helped me really find myself and figure out how I wanted to navigate 2023. It was a very formative conversation. I don't know if Tony's aware of that, but it was really great, and it just really helped me like look forward. Other people I want to work with, I do have a collaborative project coming out soon, and I'm really excited to reach out to Sebastian Yue, Kaya at Mirlock,
Fantastic. She's great.
potentially JC Darcy. There's so many people that I have on this list. I just kind of tweeted like, "Hey, if you want to work with me on this project, reply to this tweet because I have too much social anxiety to bother people." Because I also worry about like I'm not that I'm a superpower or anything, but I also worry about if I ask you if you want to work with me, there's pressure to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Whereas if I say, "Hey, let me know of your interests," it feels less like broadly. It feels less
Hmm.
of a manipulation piece, I guess. I feel
Right.
less icky about it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I am really excited to finally like do something collaboratively with people. Uh I think there's just so many people that I have ADHD, so I don't remember them until I see them like on my timeline, um, or in person at a con. But I think I'm right where I want to be completely honest with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah, getting to
That's
work
great.
collaboratively is like so cool. It's something I've only recently like had the ability to start doing. I We can't announce the Zine Club title coming up because I'm not sure for sure it's going to come out when it says it is on the release schedule. But there is like a cool +1 I got a project managed like 2 years ago when we actually did it. That's just been waiting for a release, and I got to work with like so many cool people on it. But like, it's just sick. I love working with people.
Yeah, I think I just haven't had a lot of opportunity to do it outside of like corporate. So
Hmm.
that also kind of colors my experience a little bit. So I think this like sort of leading this project for myself will be helpful in navigating that and figuring out what I like and where I need to address. And then with Zine Club, it feels more so not that it's corporate, but it feels more organized. It's less like you're collaborating. It's more so like, let's get this done. Let's get these
Right.
out. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a
Yeah.
creative
Yeah,
thing
it's
at
a
all.
really
It's
different energy.
For
yeah,
sure.
different energy. Perfect explanation. Yeah.
Awesome. So with the neuromancer, the last thing we have is weapon. Which is you've got some twin knives action.
Hell
so
yeah.
you
I
can
hadn't
attack
even
twice.
seen those. I love knives.
I was gonna say, I was like, listen, I get what the book says, but I hear that you can just kind of play games how the way you want to play them. So if you wanted a different weapon, we could find one. But it sounds like we got a banger here.
Yeah, I wish. I love a double knife wielding situation. It's the first character I made in a tabletop RPG did double knife wielding dealing, and
Amazing.
typical rogue, I'm too cool to be here situation.
Everybody's got one. It might not be their first character, but it's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
You just got to get it out and like do the thing, because there's something about it. I don't know. It speaks to everybody.
That's another reason I love solo games, because you can play that character without being annoying.
If you're annoying, it's just yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just okay. All right, I see it, and we're moving on. I think that's great. I honestly think I didn't play a rogue, but I was a dual wielding ranger vibes.
Yeah,
but very
same.
Moody broody.
Yeah,
very. I've seen some shit. Like, I don't know. There's just something about being this sad chosen one.
Yes.
You just gotta get it out of your system so you can get to the real stuff, which is like the absolute gremlin characters that make zero sense out of the context of the single session you decided that's who you were gonna be.
Yeah.
And run with it. And I think that wraps up the character creation in Extremis, and unless I'm mistaken there, Keegan.
No, I believe you're right. I'll double check the PDF real fast because I definitely
pretty sure
have played this enough. I should know that for sure. But yeah, I'm like 90% sure that's that.
And now you can go conquer the hordes of the Corvus Dominion in space and protect the Necromancer.
Let's just go ahead and schedule our first session.
Listen, I'm so down. Don't tell me with a good time. I love.
Oh, wait, one sec. There is one more thing in character creation that I do always sort of forget to talk about. But each Necromancer starts the game with at least one relationship with an NPC living on the planet. This is like, hey, let's build out who you're friends with. But like, I do feel like it's sort of an interesting thing in this formatting.
Mm-hmm. So who's your relationship from another planet? I mean, we talked a little bit about designers that you would not work with, but the language betrays me in this moment.
Collaborate with,
talk to, yell at,
to, engage, perceive directly,
yeah,
in a creative fashion. But yeah, who would your other planet contact be?
I think it would be a person who goes by Table Cat Games in most spaces. His name is Paul. He's one of my best friends in the tabletop RPG space. He is one of the first people I started talking to on Twitter. Really, I don't know how got me to come out of my shell on Twitter, just like being just really kind and really nice. And then when some really weird stuff happened on Twitter with some bigger creatives that I was like kind of sidelined involved in, Paul was there to help me kind of work through it. And because he was kind of in those circles too. So he's been like if I need to vent, he's the person I trust, that's also in the space that, we are there for each other. He traveled all the way to Missouri him and his partner traveled to see Josh and I last year at a local convention. And you're never sure how those in-person meetings are going to go, and it was so fine. It was very fluid. There wasn't any kind of awkwardness. We both wanted to go to bed at 10 p.m. so that was great, And it's just, I think Paul's one of my best friends, and I'm so thankful that he's around.
That's wonderful. Yay for Paul. And we have Paul in the chat. It's great.
Was he? I don't know if he's in.
Paul.
I have eye issues, and I have my contacts in because I prefer them on stream. I can't see anything.
That's
It's
fine.
I can see there's a chat, but I can't read it at all.
It's
You
okay.
don't need
They're
to read the
saying
chat.
just
That's
the nicest
overrated.
things. I do love the distinction of like meeting the person in person and it being afraid of if it's gonna click or not.
I'm embarrassed he's here. I figured he would not be.
No, it's good. It's good. The vibes
Hi,
are
Paul.
immaculate. Because even with Keegan, like 100% it was a vibe. It was super cool. I had met other people online, or I had met in person with people I'd mostly worked with online, and it was not a good time. And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do if Keegan and I are not.
If we don't hit it off in
immediately-
person.
right? If we don't hit it off in person, like this is gonna be really uncomfortable for everybody because I'm just gonna walk out. But it was great. It was wonderful.
I think honestly, and a lot of my experiences have been made better by meeting people in person. I think it helps kind of break down. Twitter can feel like the space of Twitter and all of its iterations, threads and blue sky. It can really feel like you're only seeing this void of a person, the three-dimensional, like there are some people I don't like them on Twitter. Okay. I can, some people you just don't vibe with. And then I meet them in person. I'm like, oh, now I can hear the way you're saying your tweet. You're not mean. You're just like sarcastic. Like I can hear the inflection.
I was gonna say, no, Keegan is mean. Keegan is absolutely mean.
I want everyone to know I'm the exact same online that I am in person.
It's true.
But the way I perceive you, I think it's a me thing. Like I perceive people a certain way. Like I read text a certain way. I overanalyze. I get anxiety. So meeting people in person, it helps me add those seasonings and that flavor of what makes them a true person. And maybe you're still being mean, but at least like I have a more formative understanding of why.
The context is there and you can now dismiss it. It's not, Keegan's not being mean to me. Keegan is mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I hate you too. I can't even say anything because I think I signed Cassie's version of In Extremis just says eat shit on the first page.
Correct.
Yeah, every email I send you, by the way, it just eat shit at Keegan.exe. I don't know if you've noticed.
I don't, which is really funny. I am going to have to go look at that now.
That's hilarious.
That's so funny.
Oh. All right. So that's our character. We did the thing. Cassie, how you feeling about your guy?
Great. Like, let's schedule a little one or few shot. Let's figure it out.
Heck yeah.
Well, don't threaten Sarah because she will do it.
That's true.
Like I said I wanted to play Down We Go, and everyone was like, "We'll do it," and I was like, "Okay, when?" And silence. Folks.
It's true.
So
here's the thing. This is what I'll tell you about Down We Go. So this is a bit of a tangent, but we're going there. So for PAX, we signed up for Down We Go and In Extremis to run. And I was helping with that. And I was like, this might be a problem because I've never played Down We Go. And I get really nervous. I want to do a good job. So I was panicked every time I went to sit down at the table, like, please let them want to play In Extremis because that's the only thing I'm prepared to run. Please. And it worked out every time. But if it makes you feel better, Cassie, I've been part of the +1 environment for some amount of time. Also never played Down We Go. We're still waiting.
All right.
Cassie,
we need to take over.
There are multiple people in the chat who are yelling at you for not running games you told them you would run. I have Table Cat games. I'm still waiting for your Alien game. I have JC Darcy. Yeah, Cassie, I've still got an Alice's Missing with your name on it. Let's not be potting others' kettle schedules black or something.
Listen, I had to get through the first part of the year, and now I have to finish taxes. I'm mostly bullying Sarah for like fall, so
it's okay. Well, listen, we'll make it happen. I ain't scared. Give me a 9-month timeline to which I can procrastinate, I will accomplish 2 things.
There we go.
One of them will be running a game. But thank you so much for being here, Cassie.
Thank you. This was so much fun. What a great format for a show.
Can I show something off I've never got to show off on stream before?
Yes.
Because they sit in the corner. Can we grab something?
Wow, Keegan's just really making this all about them.
Yeah,
it's
fine.
Can't believe.
I mean, we were talking about his game, but
yeah, we were
their game, but
but like, it's fine.
Okay.
Oh, there we go.
So obviously, this game was based on like Gideon the Ninth or anything, and I do want everyone to know, I am like the world's biggest Gideon knives.
Oh, I know.
I have
I've
these
seen this art.
massive. They're huge, and I have all three of them. And I haven't mounted them on my
Gorgeous.
wall yet because there's a fourth book coming, and I want to get
Yes.
the full size print of that and then get it framed and then mount all four of them instead because they're such a fucking hubbub to mount.
Yes. You got to do them all together.
So
I'm
they're
gonna
just-
read the rest of the books when they're all out because I can't do this waiting in between business.
The thing, I was straight up bullied into
It's a big
reading them.
sigh. It's a big sigh.
I was bullied into reading them, and Keegan ran Solar Side, which was like a expansion for In Extremis.
That's
This was
never
what-
coming out.
never coming out. Only I got to play it. It was delightful.
That's
We
not
streamed
true.
it. You can.
I've run through Solar Side.
Only
The expansion
it
I'm
was
never going to release
just me, no
3
one
times
else.
now.
But you can watch on YouTube. It was really a great time. But Keegan described to me the pitch. You're overpowered necromancers in space. I had no idea about the books, the game, but I'm like, I am on board. We played the game. I loved it. It was so fun. And then over a year later, broke down. It's like, fine, I'll read the books. And poor Keegan getting messages. I'm like, Keegan, it's all making sense now. Like everything's coming together. All the vibes were so good.
I
And Keegan's
won't-
like, yeah, I know.
I won't spoil this for Cassie, so I won't get into exactly what happened here. But there's this really funny thing where I wrote In Extremis and then the supplemental stuff for it, and then she put out the next book, and it was like, oh, a bunch of things I made up into my own little world here ended up being things that
True.
happened in the books. But like I made like wild swings to differentiate myself, and the harder I swung, the more she swung the exact same direction.
I think that just shows how much of a fan you were. You could see it, even though you
Mhm.
didn't think you could.
I really thought I was making up something for myself, and then she ended up doing it. And Sarah was messaging me like, "Oh my god, so the thing in Solar Side is this?" And I was like, "Babe, Solar Side came out before that book did."
And my whole brain imploded.
Incredible.
Much like the Dead Moons. It was amazing. Cassie, I know we're wrapping up here. Before we do, I gotta ask my question that I'm asking all the guests because I think it's very good, and I love hearing different people's inspiration. So, Cassie, what are 3 characters from any genre of media that you carry with you or that have stuck with you since you read, saw, heard about them?
This is such a good question, and I was stressed about it. I'm so glad you gave me time to think about it.
I've learned my
'cause
lesson.
I've crossed off a few.
Yeah, every time I sprung it on guests, they'd be like, "How could you do this, you monster?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry."
So I'll start with the most recent one, and that is Commander Shepard from Mass Effect. I am playing a Paragon, and I think it's the voice actor, to be honest, just the way she delivers her lines. I'm just like, this is who I want to be. I want to be perceived as like this calm and collect. I'm never going to be, and it doesn't make sense for me as a person, but also in another life, I want to be that.
Jennifer Hale's voice acting is so good in that game, and it's
It's-
completely unfair.
It's amazing, and the writing as well, like not all the writing is great, but I particularly think the way she leans into the writing even when it's not good is just so good. I don't know how Mass Effect 3 ends. I'm halfway through the 3rd game.
Oh, okay.
So I don't have any maybe my opinion will change at some point.
Her voice acting doesn't get worse, and that's the thing
No.
I'll say about the end of Mass Effect 3.
Okay.
I was going to ask about your opinion on the 4th one, but you
No, not
presumably
there
haven't
yet,
played
no.
that yet.
No.
I'll say I'm the only person on the planet who likes that game.
I'm excited to have an open mind. I know a lot of people didn't like Mass Effect 3's ending. I have no idea what it was, but I love tragedy, so if it's tragic, I'm ready to lean into that and cry, baby. So we'll see.
It's tragic, but not that way. I'm so
No.
sorry.
Well, I'm glad you warned me because I'm gonna be the exception. I'm gonna love Mass Effect 3's ending.
So here's the deal. I love Mass Effect. 3 is one of my favorite games. I really love 4. The end of Mass Effect 3 is bad. It's
Okay.
bad. It's
Okay.
so bad that when they made a 4th game, they were like, Let's just throw these characters into a different galaxy because we don't know how to untangle what we just did here.
Okay, good to know. Noted.
So temper your expectations.
I wasn't
for it.
sure if it was just like gamer boys didn't like it. You know what I mean? Of the time,
It's hard
because it made some decisions at the time that weren't great.
Yeah. I have a lot of
Edie's.
I have a lot of
design.
opinions about Mass Effect 3, and I could do this all day.
Yeah. Okay. Another stream that's not related to tabletop RPGs. We'll just talk about Mass Effect 3.
There you
Yeah. Deal.
So I'm gonna work backwards. I'll work backwards. So the next character that I think has stuck with me, and I carry with me unconsciously, is Dr. Frankenstein. I think there's something really interesting. I think a lot of people are always trying to create something and get so sucked into what they're doing. I mean, I've done it, especially if you have mental health issues. You get so sucked into creating something, or stuck into wanting to make your monster, your thing, your creation, that you put other things to the side. You may end up hurting people. You may end up hurting yourself. So I just think Dr. Frankenstein is an incredible character, and one that we don't pay enough attention to, especially in creative fields.
Talking like tragic and gay, Dr. Frank. I read that for the first time like 2 years ago. And A, better than I was expecting. B, wow, they made him so gay.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's worth it.
You ever just invent a guy to fall in love with?
Yeah.
Listen, sometimes it's the only way, okay? Sometimes you do what you gotta do.
In keeping with tragedy, of course, the third and final character is Uncle Iroh from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, so good. What a banger of a pick. I could not have seen that coming. That is a very good, excellent job you've done.
Thank you.
Oh, no. Every time I make tea at work, I hear Uncle Iroh in my head telling me like the importance of just like enjoying the small things, and like how beautiful jasmine tea is. And I'm like, thank you, Uncle Iroh.
Yeah, like, not to get too personal, but I don't really have like a great relationship with any kind of grandpa or dad figure. So Uncle Iroh, growing up and watching him, it was, not that he was my de facto dad or anything, but like I have this, attachment there. And then also, what a bamf,
Oh, absolutely.
What a bamf.
What an absolute unit of a dude. I think there's sorry, now this is an Uncle Iroh fan cast. I think with that character in particular, they do this wonderful job of showing masculinity in its like purest form, like in a way that you don't see it anywhere else. Like, this is a guy who led armies. This is a guy who has seen the worst of the world and has gone out and been like gung-ho, done all this stuff, and at the end of the day recognizes that like real strength is in vulnerability. And watching him balance that with Zuko and really touch, like, how do you explain that to a punk ass kid who like literally is just like only consists of prove yourself energy? Like, hey man, you can prove yourself till the cows come home. It ain't gonna fix nothing. And watching like the patience and love and strength in Iroh's character, just how do you not?
They killed it with his writing, like impeccable.
So good. And like the levity he brings to things, but the whole time he's doing secret society shit. It's just
Is he perfect?
Guy. No.
But also, he's wonderful, and we love him.
Correct. Can confirm.
Yes.
Excellent. This is very good. Thank you again, Cassie, and welcome.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Welcome to the
+1
group.
I just kind of force myself in,
listen. Yeah,
if you fangirl hard enough, they will just make you part of the team.
Excellent. You're also now officially in our cult, so welcome.
Oh, thank goodness.
We eat pizza and talk about, I don't know, nerdy things. It's pretty great.
I do like pizza.
Before we break, where's the best place that people can find you, and any projects you'd like to hype for yourself? I know you just released a really big deal.
Well, big deals. It's a strong description. Hi, I'm Cassi Mothwin.
And I'm
you couldn't tell.
Deal.
I think so.
You can find physical and digital releases on mothwin.com as well as on DriveThruRPG and itch. Though through mothwin.com, I get the most money, so I prefer you shop there. Also, I've got deals going on right now on all the sites as well as some cool shirts and other stuff. I did just release an expansion for Tangled Blessings. Tangled Blessings is my magical horror school role playing game where you and potentially another player see 4 years as students at a magic school where bad things will happen to you. And I just released it. Originally comes with 3 endings that are pretty vague, so you can fill in the blanks. But I just released an expansion that adds 16 very unique, very diverse, very, very tragic. I love tragedy, if you couldn't tell. Endings where you may die, you may murder, you may disappear into the ether. You may be eaten by a monster. So do check that out if you also love to have the pretend sads.
This is excellent. We've already talked about it, but we're going to talk about it again. Cassie's our zine fiend for Zine Club. You need to sign up for it and do all of the things.
RPGzine.club.
There we go. You get really cool zines delivered directly to you. There's the story or adventure tier and man alive, my brain story.
Adventure
right?
tier and story tier. Yep.
Yeah. Why did I question myself? I know these things. Anyways, go and check those out once a month. They're very cool. Keegan, do we have anything else that we need to plug promo?
So here's a behind the scenes for people watching the stream. I am the only one who uses the Google Calendar. We have a Google Calendar for everybody who does streams to put their streams on. And I know there are things coming up, but I open the Google Calendar to talk about them, and it's completely empty. The only things on it are things I've put there that were earlier this week. So
excellent.
So I don't know. We have things coming up or we don't. Follow us at plus1exp.com or look at the plus1exp Twitter where Tony will hopefully announce things as they come up.
It'll be great and it'll be good. Awesome. And that's
also clip that. It'll be great. It'll be good. Yeah.
That's it. We're done. Cassie, you've been a delight. Thank you so much. Keegan, I appreciate your face. Everybody in chat, thank you so much for participating in today's stream. And we're going to wave at the camera until Keegan takes us away. And we hope you enjoy your pizza.
Oh no, I tried to